I thought, after 9/11, I was really, really interested in what made Middle Eastern men tick. And I was interested in the profiles of the terrorists, and I was interested in the media's portrayal of the profiles of the terrorists, in the idea of Osama bin Laden, in the idea of Muslim radicals. And then I was also fascinated by people like my father or my brother, who were completely outside of that. And I've always tended to write from a middle-aged male perspective already. Most of my short stories always were about men in midlife. So it was sort of natural for me to go there with the Middle Easterners somehow. I just thought there'd been so much also written about women of the Middle East, and so much of it was getting so stereotypical and hysterical in a sense. That's a loaded word with women, oops. But it really was. I was so sick of these books coming out about Middle Eastern women or Iranian women in veils cooking spices in a kitchen and crying all the time. It wasn't my reality, and it wasn't a reality I'd observed. And I was sick of it, and I had a feeling those books were just getting published because of the not without my daughter syndrome in the US. And I wanted to look at the men. I thought the story was interesting, and the set of pressures they dealt with were endlessly fascinating. So I started with my own father and my brother in a way, and expanded from there. And now my second novel, it sort of deals more with terrorist mindset and those other to my own reality. But I think I've always read books by middle-aged men. I grew up very much loving, I would say, the books in Harold Bloom's Western canon for whatever reason. I mean, they were probably because I was Iranian and female, I gravitated towards the most traditional literature one could gravitate towards. And so I ended up reading a lot of dead white men always. It was very unpopular in the 90s, particularly at a place like Sarah Lawrence College. But I always wanted to read, the 19th century British writers, and then the American experimentalists and metafiction writers. And they often write about themselves. So they weren't writing a lot about minority women. So I was always somewhat in their mindset. So I think that's why, as a child, I was always writing about white versions of my father. I've had to now make a conscious effort on the second novel to write about women, but it feels foreign to me somehow. That's fascinating. Women, I think, are also more complicated and more loaded in a way. I'm able to go back to a slightly more blank palette with men, strangely. I don't even know what that means and why I think that. I'll leave that to psychologists, I guess.